Hey everyone, AMR back again with another video on the tier list. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do some of the most famous actors that we know today. As you can see here on the screen, we have quite a bit of actors to get through, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I think I can lead the columns here as, let's go ahead and change them up a little bit. So I think I'm actually going to leave all of the tier lists as S, A, B, C, D. I think that totally makes sense here. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first up, we have Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, I'm going to put right in a B category. So I'm going to try and spend roughly about a minute and a half talking about each person. So feel free to skip around if you want. But I just feel like Adam Sandler, he has a very distinct role, and that role is yelling. And he had that movie come out, I think it's called Uncut Gems, and that really tried to show the range of his ability to act, but to me, I just didn't, it seemed like it was a bit of a stretch. He's done a lot of different roles, and I think that he has a very specific lane that he likes to go down. Him and Drew Barrymore went through a series. I really liked him in The Wedding Singer, speaking of which, and you know, he even had a really cool thing with like 8 Crazy Nights. But all things being considered here, we have a lot of really prestigious actors on this list. It's not to say that Adam Sandler's a bad actor by any means, but I just don't know if he has the range to be an S or an A. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and put Al Pacino up in the S tier. I think that he is the equivalent of an S tier. He's played a football head coach. He has played literally the devil. He's played a gangster. He's done so many different types of movies, and you know what? He's nailed them all. One of his biggest selling points for me personally was when he portrayed Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno, I think his name is, the old head coach for the Penn State football team when they had that whole Sandusky movie that came out. He like really nailed that role. He's very good in The Irishman. He is really good in Devil's Advocate. That's probably like one of my favorite movies with him in it. And also in Any Given Sunday, I think that he like really killed it. Obviously, you have The Godfather and Scarface, but you know, he's played a lot of different roles. So next up, we have Andrew Garfield. I don't really know him outside of The Amazing Spider-Man, and from what I gathered, he wasn't that great of an actor. I'm gonna put him in D. Of the Spider-Mans that we know today, he's probably the worst Spider-Man. I hear that he has a bit of a attitude on set, and so that is obviously going to dictate whether or not he gets chosen for certain roles. And, you know, I just don't see him as a good actor. Next up, we have Angelina Jolie. I think I'm going to put Angelina Jolie up in the A tier. She's had a very good career. You know, she has played a lot of different roles. You have her as Tomb Raider. You have her in The Bone Collector. You have her in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You know, she's played a bunch of different roles. Maleficent. And, you know, she is a very, you know, she likes to use her looks to get certain points across and stuff, but by no means is that like limiting her ability. Like, she's done action movies, she's done romantic movies. She is like the epitome of a top tier actress, and so that's why she's going to be landing an A for me. Next up on the list, we have Antonio Banderas. Oh my God. So next up on this list, we have Antonio Banderas. He is also one of those characters that I think is going to fall in this B tier. He was good in Zorro. He was good in like Spy Kids. That's pretty much what I know him from. And you know, he's played a bunch of different roles, but he kind of like, I mean, he's also Puss from Shrek, or Puss in Boots, and he's, you know, he definitely uses his accent to his advantage, but I think that really limits what type of roles he can go for, and I don't think that he has much range as an actor. I think that he was more of like a sex appeal icon back when he was a little bit younger. Now you can see he's a little bit older, and I just don't see him as, you know, like being a very good actor. I think that he just had a specific talent and he used it, and he leaned really hard into it. Next up, we have Arnold. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm going to go ahead and put in B as well. I think that he's played in he's definitely a better actor than we all could have imagined. This guy was a prolific bodybuilder, Mr. Universe. And he played in roles like Jingle All the Way, The Terminator. Like the list goes on and on when you talk about like roles that Arnold like played. He's very iconic because of the way he talks. And I think that he definitely had a very successful career, and he really, again, he had a very specific talent and he leaned heavily into it, which was his muscles. And I just don't know if he has the like overall range. You could see it was kind of quirky in the movie Jingle All the Way. Like he's like, that very like Arnold type esque personality. But in the Terminator, where it's like all focused on him being very stiff, that's my Arnold impression, by the way. He definitely kind of killed that role because he's like, I'm buff and I don't have to be smooth. And that is Arnold to a T. Next up, we have Ben Affleck. I'm going to put Ben in A. He's not quite S for me. I think that early on in his career, he had potential to be an S, but he's kind of fallen off in his later years. He's had some movies that were really good, but they just kind of like are not hitting the mark, He wasn't as good as a Batman as what I think that Christian Bale and like the recently Robert Pattinson, who I believe is on this list. I don't see him right now, but yeah, there he is. He's down here. But I think that Ben Affleck early on, like Good Will Hunting, Dogma, Pearl Harbor, those were all movies where Ben Affleck was like in his prime for acting, and he was like killing it with Matt Damon in a lot of those movies. And now he's doing more serious roles. He's doing a lot of like dad roles, and to me personally, it's just not hitting the mark. He was pretty good in Gone Girl, but that being said, I can't name a movie that I really thoroughly enjoyed outside of Gone Girl in the last 5 to 10 years from Ben Affleck. So next up, we have Ben Stiller. I'm gonna put Ben Stiller in A as well. Man, that feels gross. But I think that that's right. I almost wanted to put him in B as well because he and Adam Sandler, I think, are very interchangeable. Yeah. No, I'm going to leave him in A. I'm going to leave him in A because he started out as like a very specific, like I work out type of character, in Dodgeball when he had like the muscles, and also in this movie I think it's called Heavyweights. It's like a Disney Channel movie. He was like this hardcore fitness trainer guy that ran this fat camp, and he was very into his body, and then he switched roles into more of like a boyfriend type role where he was like in Meet the Parents, Along Came Polly, and then he switched even into like a dad role like in Night at the Museum. Like he's changed a lot in his career, and I think that he's showing a lot of range. He also has a very, very funny cameo in Tenacious D, Pick a Destiny. He never ceases to surprise me when it comes to what roles he can really, really hit. He does have a Ben Stiller take on a lot of them, but that being said, there are plenty of Ben Stiller movies that I like, not because Ben Stiller's in it, just because it's a good movie overall, and I think that Ben Stiller kind of caters his ability to what the movie's trying to get across. Next up, we have Benedict Cumberbatch. This is a tough one. I'm going to put him in B. Like, I really like him as Doctor Strange, but I thought that he was pretty terrible in The Imitation Game. The movie, I think, is, the movie's going to be kind of bland. It's about, the enigma that he's trying to crack, and his name's Alan Turing, and he's trying to, get across the fact that he is a homosexual who is helping out the military, which those things don't really vibe, especially at that time. He's the inventor of computing, and so he definitely had more of a serious role in that one, whereas in movies like Doctor Strange, he's able to, cater to some of that funny-esque type behavior. And I think that he is a little weird looking. Okay. All right. All right. So next up we have Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's going to be an S tier. I mean, I'm sorry. There's a lot of people who kind of want like that to a Brad Pitt, but let's be honest, man. He killed it in Seven, killed it in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, killed it in Troy, killed it in Interview with a Vampire. He absolutely nailed it in Fight Club. Like, he has played in so many types of films, and man, oh man, is he good. Like Moneyball. What was the Big Short? He has just played so many different types of roles that aren't just about being a pretty boy, and he is so damn good. Ocean's 12, Ocean's 11, Ocean's 13, like just absolutely nails home every single role that he takes on, and I think that he's got to be an S tier. Next up, you got Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis got to be an S tier for me. He, killed the whole franchise of the Die Hard movies, and what really kind of seals the deal in S tier for me personally has to be his role in The Sixth Sense. That is not an action type movie, and if anything, it's like a polar opposite of what you typically see him in. And he's really, really good. I loved him in Pulp Fiction. I loved him in Unbreakable. He's got a very wide range of abilities, and I love everything about him. There's recent news coming out that he's actually retiring from acting because he's got some health issues going on. Really sad story. Feel free to read up on that in your own time, but I'm not going to cover it here. He's just like one of those iconic actors, and like it just wouldn't be doing it justice to be putting him in anything else but S. Chris Evans, I'm going to go ahead and put in front of Cumberbatch here. I think that he plays a better Captain America, but again, I think that he really is like a one-trick pony. Like, I'm hot and I have big muscles. Outside of that, I don't think that his acting is anything spectacular. He was in a movie called Not Another Teen Movie, and he was also in Fantastic Four. He's been in the Captain America movies, and as well as all the Marvel franchises and stuff. Yes, he's good. But I think that if he didn't look as good as what he does, he might not have been able to get as far in his acting career, if that makes sense. Next up, Thor. Very similar situation. Good-looking guy who has big muscles. He was in a movie called I think it's called A Cabin in the Woods. Really, really dumb movie, by the way. But it is a good watch. It's one of those haha, but not haha. It's a scary movie, but it's not. I don't know. Anyway, he plays another role-esque where I'm strong. He was actually okay in his very, very limited role in Star Trek, and I actually liked him in that. I liked him far more than I liked him as Thor. I think that he's a good Thor, and he's kind of like that brute type behavior, but I don't know. Again, he's not a great actor. He's just good looking and he's built. Next up, we have Chris Pratt. I'm going to put Chris Pratt up here in A. I think that he's shown us a pretty good range thus far. He's played Star-Lord. He's played the Jurassic Worlds. He's in Parks and Rec. He's got a pretty wide range of what he can do. And I would be more curious to see what he'd be like in like a romantic comedy. He's not really in too many of those right now. I think that the closest that we get to that is like a Jurassic World with him. And then in Parks and Rec, he's like just complete idiot. So I think that he has a lot of potential, but we don't really see that too much. But he is one of those characters that I think is becoming more and more integrated in what we perceive as like lead male actors, and I think that's why I'm going to land him up an A. So next up, we got Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito is tough. So I'm going to put Danny DeVito up in B. If he wasn't so damn good looking and buff, no. Actually, he is. If there's one thing that sets Danny DeVito apart from other people, it's the fact that if he can look like that and still get roles as a male actor, like he's got to be pretty damn good at acting. He's like 5'1", I want to say, or something like that. And, he's in the movie Twins. He played the Penguin in the Batman series. He was in Big Fish. He's played a lot of different types of roles, not to mention, his most popular role in today's world of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He has a very unique type of personality, and I think that a lot of people love his charisma and his sense of energy and stuff. But I don't really see him playing too many serious roles. He was also in Matilda too, for those that don't know. He was the dad in that really weird movie, but I think that Danny DeVito is going to be like right in that mid-tier B. He'll never get like the handsome role actor because this is just not him. But I would like to see a little bit more range. Next up here, we got David Spade. Oh man, David Spade, I'm going to put in B as well. The reason being is I was going back and forth in my head, and he's played roles like Joe Dirt, really dumb movie, but he actually did a pretty good job in Joe Dirt. And then early on in his career, like before he was an established actor, when he was in like Tommy Boy and stuff, he felt very awkward that whole movie. And as he's gotten more and more famous after SNL, and he's been in movies like Grown Ups, he doesn't seem like a good actor. He seems like a comedian who transitioned into acting, and that's really what he is. And so I'm going to put him in B. I think that him and Adam Sandler, especially since they're in a lot of movies together, they just fit the role right to be in the same category here. So next up, we have The Rock. I think The Rock's going to be in B as well. Reason being is, again, if he wasn't such a mountain of a human being, I don't know necessarily what we would perceive him as. Like he's been in movies like called The Other Guys. He's been in Gridiron Gang, San Andreas, Jumanji. He's been in movies like The Game Plan. And I think that we've seen a pretty good range thus far. But all that being said, he is a very, very lovable type of human being. He has that, iconic smile, which he's doing right there, smoldering. And he is really, really fun to watch, but he is kind of a one-trick pony in my eyes. Next up, you got Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is going to be a B tier as well, in my opinion. He's played some pretty funny characters. Again, he's a comedian who's turned into acting. I think that he had more success as an actor than a comedian, but he really kind of nailed some roles. He's in movies like Life, Nutty Professor, Norbit, The Haunted Mansion. Like he's been in a lot of different movies. Not too many lately, but I think that he was really, really good in Coming to America. So you have seen him in a variety of different roles. However, that being said, you don't really see too many serious roles with Eddie Murphy in it. Next up, you got Emma Watson. Next up, you got Emma Watson. I kind of dragged that by mistake up to S, but she's going to be an A tier. For someone who started out as a child actor in her first role of Hermione, I think that she really, really killed the role. That's really tough to do. It's hard to come into a role where you really have no experience going into it, and you are going to be set as one of the 3 stars of an entire franchise. And she did a very good job. She has like a very smart, intelligent side to her, but she's also attractive. She's got, she doesn't really like rely on her looks too much. She's a very good actress. She was good in Beauty and the Beast, and then she also had some of a comedy role, and This Is the End. She's gotten really, really good at adapting to today's type of acting, if you want to say. Like it started off as like, okay, I'm a childhood actor, and how do I transition that into like more of an adult type actress? And I think that she's done a really good job with that so far. I don't know who this guy is. I really don't know who this guy is. I'm gonna put him in D, but don't read into that. I don't know who that is. I feel like I know everyone on this list, and this is the one guy that I was struggling with. Maybe if I reverse Google search his name. Can I like reverse Google search? I can't even like grab the image. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is. I'm just gonna leave him out. So next up we have Harrison Ford. I think Harrison Ford has shown us that he can be an A actor. So he was very, very good in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, starring in roles like Indiana Jones, Air Force One, Star Wars. He has just shown us that he has a wide range of characters that he can portray, and he does a pretty damn good job at all of them. Now that I think that he's like an alcoholic, if I'm not mistaken, but he is a very, very good actor, and to see him in the last three episodes of, or the most recent anyway, who knows if there's going to be more of the Star Wars franchise, it was really cool to see him still have it a little bit. I really liked him as Indiana Jones and as Han Solo. Next up, Heath Ledger. So Heath Ledger, I think I'm going to put in S tier. Hear me out on this one. This dude played so many different roles. Let me go ahead and talk about three of them. 1, 10 Things I Hate About You. He's this school misfit guy who is good looking. He's got curly hair, got an accent, and he's kind of like this punkish type character, right? Then you got the second one, a gay cowboy. A gay cowboy. And then the third one, the Joker. And that's not even talking about his roles like in Lords of Dogtown. Like, dude, he is so damn good at acting, and it's because he's a method actor. And ultimately, I think that led to his death. I think he died at 27. I'm not sure. I think it was that Club 27. What an actor, dude. Like, that guy could have been so much in the world, and he really did portray he's the best Joker there was. And in Brokeback Mountain, he was very, very good. In Lords of Dogtown, very, very good. He's been he was one of those actors that he was just coming out with banger after banger after banger. And then, when he passed away, obviously it's not going to happen anymore. And it's really a shame. I think that he could have been a very, very talented actor had he continued to be alive. Next up, you have Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's going to be tough. I'm going to put Hugh Jackman in A. I think that he has shown us that he can do some of those pretty boy serious roles, as well as some of those more athletic and, I don't know, not necessarily athletic, I want to say, but more just thriller. He's Logan in the X-Men series. I mean, that's pretty much what I identify with him as. But I know that he's played in some other roles where he's more like a pretty boy. And so it is kind of cool to see that range of character. But I'm dangerously floating him in that same category as Chris Evans. So I'm not really sure if he's a borderline A, borderline B type actor. Next up, you got Jack Black. Jack Black's tough. I'm gonna put Jack Black in. I'm gonna put him in C. Oh man, that hurts. I really like so many of Jack Black's movies. He just. I don't get it. When the first movie that I know him in is When Mars Attacks, and he was this military type guy who was trying to be a tryhard or whatever, but he's still goofy. And I know him in Tenacious D, Pick a Destiny, and Tropic Thunder. So he's definitely more of a. I can't call him a present day Chris Farley, because Chris Farley is way funnier than Jack Black was. But in School of Rock and stuff, he tried to show us some range, but even that felt corny and quirky. And so I feel with a different actor in there, you possibly could have had a better movie. Next up, you got Jackie Chan. I'm gonna put Jackie Chan. I'm going to put Jackie Chan in B. I don't really think that he has too much to offer outside of he's just an actor who does martial art movies. He's a very, very, very niche type actor. He's in movies like Rush Hour, and what's the other movies that he's in? He's in he's in movies like The Rush Hour or Rush Hour 2. I think there's Rush Hour 3. He's in a movie called Tuxedo. He's all about being an action figure, or not an action. He's all about being a martial arts person. And so if it's outside of that realm of possibilities, Jackie Chan's probably not footing the bill. And so I think that is a very niche thing, but he's very, very good at that. So that's why he's landing in B and not an A. Next up, come on, man. Come on, man. Give me that's Jack, boy. Jack has played so many different roles. Oh my God. Jack Nicholson has played in Few Good Men, The Shining, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was the Joker in Batman. He has played in roles where he had to be serious. He's played in roles where they're romantic comedy, something's got to give, anger management. He's played in The Departed. Can't forget that one. Dude is electric on film. He can encompass any role that he puts himself into, and he's kind of losing his marbles now. But oh my God, this guy is the best like male actor of his time, in my opinion. He's so damn good. Next up here, we have Jason Momoa. I mean, come on. Like, personally, I'm not sure what all the hype's about him. Like, I don't even think he's attractive, but I know a lot of people do. He's just one of those characters who is a pretty boy with big muscles. He can't act for shit. You know, he was pretty bad in Game of Thrones, in my opinion. He was dog shit as Aquaman. I don't really know what else you want me to say. Like, it's a girl with a beard. I don't know what to tell you. Next up here, we have Jason Statham. I think Jason Statham is probably going to be I'm gonna put Jason Statham in C. Sorry, again, you know, like this is like Walmart Bruce Willis. And it's funny that they're like right down from each other right here. But Jason Statham, dude, come on, get a grip. He was okay in The Transporter and those type of movies, but I think what really, really showed how dog shit of an actor he is movies like The Meg. Bruh, he sucked so bad in that movie. That was just like, what do I do with my hands? Like, how am I going to fight a shark? I can't fight a shark. But they chose one of the most like prolific fighter type people. I don't even know. In a movie called Death Race 2, I don't understand that one. I'm done going on a tangent about him. Jennifer Aniston, I'm going to put an A primarily because of her ability to have success as Rachel on Friends. You know, she was really, really good in that TV show. Haven't seen too much range from her as an actress in movies. She was in like a movie called The Office or Office Space. She's in The Breakup, and you know, Along Came Polly. She's in a lot of movies, and what's that? We Are the Millers. She's in a lot of movies, but you don't really see her playing too many different roles. Doesn't have much range in my personal opinion, but we did see a really, really like elongated career with her on Friends and excelling, and so therefore I'm going to land her in A. Next up here we have Jennifer Lawrence. I'm going to put her in S tier. So I think that she killed it in the Hunger Games. She has since shown that she has a very, very good range. She's played in Joy. She's played in that one movie where she had like the Russian accent. I can't remember off the top of my head. She's in Silver Linings Playbook. She was what's her face from X-Men. I want to say Medusa, but that's not it. It's God. 1 second, I'll look it up. She was Mystique in X-Men. You know, she's played a bunch of different roles, and she has just like figured out how to craft the perfect personality for that role. Like, she's in the movie Don't Look Up, and she kills that role as well. Like, that movie's dumb as shit, but she really did a good job. And so that's why I'm going to land her in S. She's young. She's in the prime time of her career, and she's absolutely tearing up the red carpet. Next up, we got Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey pains me, man. Jim Carrey really pains me. I'm going to put him in A, okay? So Jim Carrey was one of those like actors who in the 90s and 80s was electric, you know, in Living Color. He was in Dumb and Dumber. He did good on SNL when he was on it for like a little bit. He was the Riddler in the Batman series. And so he's shown a lot of different types of roles. I didn't really care for when he started getting into more serious movies like The Number 13 and The Butterfly Effect. He's been in so many good movies. He's been in Me, Myself, and Irene. He's been in Liar, Liar. Been in Fun with Dick and Jane. He's been in, Bruce Almighty. He has played so many different roles that I think that he has the range to go up to a serious role as well as his more comfort zone of a comedy role. And, I think that lands him alone in A. He's more than a comedian in this sense. Next up here, we have Joaquin Phoenix. So Joaquin Phoenix, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him in A. Okay, so I think that he did a really, really good job in The Gladiator, or I think it's just called Gladiator. Yeah. So he did a really good job in Gladiator. He did a fantastic job in Signs, Her. He's played so many different roles, The Village, and I think that he's done a very, very good job. Dude, if you haven't seen the movie called The Joker, it's a must see. He did a fantastic job of getting into that more psychotic type background into the Joker's backstory. It almost made you feel sorry for the Joker as a character in the comic strip, but really good actor. And I think that he doesn't lean too much into his craft, if you will. He has a very good range. And for that reason, I'm going to land him up an A. Next up, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's got to go an S for me. He's played in movies like The Secret Window. He played in Donnie Draco. Played movies like Donnie Draco, 21 Jump Street, the series. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street. He was Pirates of the Caribbean. He's played a very wide range of acting, like Edward Scissorhands. This dude was killing it for a very, very long time. And I think that you think of Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow is the first person you think of, and he was awesome in that, by the way. And so him having so many different roles that he's played and kind of doing very good in all of them, I think that's enough. That, in my personal opinion, is enough to get him up an S. Next up here, we have Josh Brolin. I'm going to put Josh Brolin in A. He's done a pretty good job in movies like American Gangster. He was very good in that movie. He's been very good in Thor. He's been exceptional as Thanos. Cable in Deadpool. He's played in The Goonies. For those of you that don't know, he was in The Goonies. And movies like Hollow Man. He has done a fantastic job in his career. And so I have to he's more than just a guy with muscles and looks. He is a very good actor, in my personal opinion. Next up, we have John Wick himself, of Keanu Reeves. I'm going to put Keanu Reeves in B. It sucks because the Matrix series is my favorite, one of my favorite series of all time. I think that he killed it as Neo, but that being said, I think that him in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and now when they came out with this new movie of Bill and Ted Face the Music, so dumb. I don't know if that's a movie problem or the acting, but it just wasn't hitting there for me. It's almost like he forgot how to do the role. He was fantastic in movies he's got to go in A, man. What am I doing? He was fantastic in Devil's Advocate, with Al Pacino. He was awesome as Constantine. Yeah, he's a very good actor. What else do I need to say? And obviously John Wick, obviously. Next up, we have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is probably going to be... I'm going to put him as a C actor. I don't really know if he has too much range. He likes to play into that he's just a small guy. He did pretty good in Jumanji and stuff, but I don't know. One trick pony. He's a comedian that's turning into acting, and again, he's probably the Walmart version of an Eddie Murphy, in my personal opinion. Next up, Leo. Leo's got to be an S tier. I don't need to beat a dead horse on this one, but man, oh man, has this guy done a wide range. Great Gatsby, Titanic, Wolf of Wall Street, The Departed. Leonardo DiCaprio has destroyed it on the screen. And also, what's that movie called? The Reverend. He has done a fantastic job in every single role that he's ever done. And he's obviously an S tier candidate here. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's going to be an A character. I don't necessarily think that he is an S tier. In my personal opinion, he's kind of had that same type of persona throughout his entire career. He showed good range in Taken versus a Schindler's List. But, he was kind of all the same character. It kind of felt like Liam Neeson was the same character in Taken as when he was in Star Wars Phantom Menace. Like, he had that very same feel. And the same thing goes for when Batman Begins. Like, he's very Liam Neeson. Next up, you have Marlon Wayans. I'm going to put him down in D. I don't even really want to talk about him. He's not that good. Next up, we have Martin Lawrence. I'm going to put Martin Lawrence in C as well. I think that's similar to a Kevin Hart. He has maybe like 2 or 3 good movies in there, but overall, it's just like no range at all. And Big Mama's House and what's that one called? It's like A Knight's Tale or whatever the hell it is. He's had some good ones like National Security, but I mean, Bad Boys was good. Outside of that, though, I mean, he's not that great in my personal opinion. He used to be like a Gold Glove heavyweight boxer, by the way. Maybe not heavyweight, featherweight. I don't know the weights, but he used to be a really, really good boxer. Morgan Freeman, got to put him up in S. Shawshank's Redemption, Batman, Now You See Me. He's just got like that voice as well. So that's something that some of these other people can't really say. Morgan Freeman's got that voice. Like, he is the epitome of like having something that sets you apart from the rest of the field. Morgan Freeman is fantastic as an actor. And I think that he's obviously an S tier. I mean, what am I even debating here? Next up, we have Nicolas Cage. So I'm going to put Nicolas Cage as the very, very tippy top of A. I think that he showed really, really good range throughout his career. He played kind of like Psycho in Con Air and Face Off. And then he's also played other roles that are a little more serious, like Ghost Rider and The Family Man. And so he's played a lot of different types of roles throughout his career. He definitely has like that Nicolas Cage face, which he's doing right here. And I think that he has the potential to be such a really good actor, and it kind of just caters to what type of film that he's in. Next up, we got De Niro. De Niro's obviously going to be up in A. I think that he has shown throughout his career that he has a pretty wide range of different roles that he can be, like in Meet the Parents, versus how he acts in movie like Casino and The Irishman. And he's been around for a while. Like, this dude's been killing it. So I just have to go ahead and put De Niro up in that S tier. I think that he kind of shaped the way that we think about certain male actors, and for that reason alone, he has to be up in S. Next up here, we have Robert Downey Jr. I'm going to put him at the very, very tippy top of A. I think that he was like excellent as Iron Man. Like, the dude was phenomenal. But that being said, a movie like Gothica, he was a little weird, kind of quirky. I think that he was kind of trying to find his element when he was in a movie like Weird Science. He's definitely one of those guys who was a young gun talent, and then since then he's kind of gotten his groove in his older age. Movies like Tropic Thunder, Iron Man, Marvel series, whole thing. And so I think I'm going to put him at the very tippy top of A, but I just don't see enough range outside of what we've seen today. Robert Pattinson, I'm also going to put up an A. So prior to watching the new Batman, which I'm not going to spoil anything, fantastic movie. I knew him as Cedric Diggory and Edward from Twilight. Those are the two main movies that I remember him the most from. I know that he's in The Devil All the Time, and he absolutely crushed the Batman role. And so I think that he's showing that he has a lot to offer. He's been in Harry Potter movies. He's been in Twilight movies. He's a franchise type actor for a reason. And he's British, and you wouldn't even know it without seeing him in an interview. Like, the dude is so talented, and I'm really excited to see what he has to offer. Next up, we have Robin Williams. So I'm going to put Robin Williams up in A as well. I think that he showed us a lot of range in movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, and not to mention that he was that Martian character. I think his name's Morty. Back in when he first started out, Good Morning Vietnam. He's just got so many different types of movies. There's a movie called Jack that I really liked him in. He was fantastic in Good Will Hunting. He's just done a bunch of different type of roles throughout his career. The funny, the serious, the sad, the important, like Man of the Year, RV, The Family Man. Like, he's done so many different things, and for that reason alone, he's got to be an A. Ryan Reynolds is tough. Ryan Reynolds is really tough. I'm going to go ahead and put him right next to Chris Pratt. I think that kind of fits. He's, obviously super attractive. He's like what girls really want to see every guy look like. But that being said, I don't see him do too much outside of his normal role of being funny. Movies like Deadpool, obviously he's fantastic in that. Green Lantern, he sucked. He sucked really bad in. Movies like Waiting, he was very good in. And then this movie Red Notice that's on Netflix, dog shit again. It's just like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. But he's good to look, like he's fun to look at. So let's go ahead and give him a B. I'm tired of these mother snakes on this plane. We got to put Samuel L. up in S. Dude was so good in Pulp Fiction. So good in Kingsman. He is so damn good he's so damn good in Star Wars. This dude is the epitome of what a male black actor is in today's world. Like, this guy is so good, has so much range. He's not a one-trick pony at all. He does so many different types of roles. He's done action roles, he's done serious roles, he's done sad roles, he's been funny roles. Like, he is such a good actor. Oh my god, he's got to be an S. Next up, you got Scarlett. Put Scarlett up in A. I think that she's very good. I think that she was tremendous as Black Widow. And she was pretty good in Seventh Heaven and Eight-Legged Freaks. She was okay in. But her role in Black Widow was phenomenal. And if I'm going to put Tony Stark, who struggled early on in his career and finding it later in his career, in A, then she's got to be an A too, right? Next up, Steve Carell. I'm sorry. Michael Gary Scott is my favorite character of all time. I think that he crushed the role on the screen. He's played in sad movies like Dan in Real Life. He's played in serious roles. He's played in background noise movies that end up becoming people's favorites, so they spin it into the new thing, like in Bruce Almighty when he was Evan and turns into Evan Almighty as a sequel. Like, he has a very great personality about him, and I think the way he delivers it on the screen is second to none. Next up here, we got Sylvester Stallone. I'm going to put him down in D. I thought he's pretty bad. Taylor Lautner, I'm going to put him down in D as well. I don't think that he was good. I think he was bad as Jake. I think it's Jake, right? Jacob, yeah. He was terrible in Twilight, in my personal opinion. He was terrible as Shark Boy in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I'm trying to not talk too loud so my fiance doesn't hear me here, but she probably is. She's probably mad at me for that one. Next up, we have Terry Crews. I'm going to put Terry Crews down in C. Very much similar, type-esque role where he's super ripped and buff, but he's never going to be a lead actor. He's always kind of like a supporting cast type character. He was really funny in The Longest Yard and White Chicks. But he has played in certain roles like Everybody Hates Chris, and I think that was a pretty good growing role for him, but I don't really know him outside of those three things. So I think that there's just too much that I don't know about him, and so I'm going to keep him in C. Next up, we got Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire, I'm going to put at the back end of B. He was very, very good as a Batman. I don't really know him as anything else. And it seemed like after he got done with Batman, like, he was like, what next? I don't really know what else to do with my hands. It just didn't feel right, Next up, we got Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise got to be an S tier. So many different types of roles that he's played. Mission Impossible, Risky Business. I actually have a video, which I'll try and link right here, where it actually talks about some of his best roles. A Few Good Men, Jerry Maguire, Rain Man. The list goes on and on with Tom Cruise. He's played so many different types of movies, and for that reason alone, gotta be an S tier. This dude has killed it on the screen. Tom Hanks, obviously S tier as well. You talk about a guy who's pretty much dipped his toe in every single avenue. That's gonna be Tom Hanks. For crying out loud, he played like 13 roles in the Polar Express. He is phenomenal in Castaway, Forrest Gump, Sully, Captain Phillips, or whatever the hell that movie was called. I just watched the movie Saving Private Ryan with him in it. I mean, A League of Their Own. I could be here all day talking about Tom Hanks movies. I really, really like him, and for obviously, he's just got to be an S tier. So next up, we got Tom Hardy. I'm actually probably going to put Tom Hardy at the back end of A. I think that he plays a very good Venom. I think that he does exceptional in a movie called Warrior. That really showed his range of ability to take a character who's kind of like a brute and make people want to root for him. That movie is so good, by the way. You have to watch it if you haven't seen it. And he's also pretty good in a movie like Inception. I think that he's in another movie called Dunkirk. And so you see a pretty good range of character when you're talking about Tom Hardy. Next up here, we have Loki. I don't know him as anything else. I think he plays a pretty good Loki, but I don't know him as anything else. I'm going to keep him in B. I don't even know his real name. Next up, we got Tom Holland. So Tom Holland is probably getting close to an S tier in my personal opinion. It's just way too early on in his career. He killed it in The Devil All the Time. He killed it in a movie called The Impossible. He killed it in a movie called Spider-Man. Ever heard of it? So he is fantastic. I think that he's got a very likable personality outside of just acting, and he's going to end up being one of those prolific actors. So this is going to be a prequel to what could be possibly an S tier later on in his life. Next up, Tommy Lee Jones. I think Tommy Lee Jones is kind of in that A tier as well. He's really good in Men in Black. Space Cowboy is really weird. He's been in a lot of different types of movies, but I think overall we kind of have like that gist of what a Tommy Lee Jones is, and it's just like a cowboy type Texas, type of person. And I think that he's a good actor. He's been in movies that make you cry. He's been in movies that make you laugh in certain moments, and he's been in movies that are kind of like a kick-ass. And so, yeah. Next up, Vin Diesel. I'm gonna put Vin Diesel in D. I don't think that he's that great. I don't think he was very good in Fast and the Furious series. Hate me if you want, I don't care. He's basically like a thumb. And he was okay in Saving Private Ryan. Terrible in the movie called The Pacifier. He's not a good actor in my personal opinion. I'm glad that they chose him to say literally one phrase in the entire Guardians of the Galaxy series. Next up, we got Will Smith. Oh, man. Will Smith, I'm going to put an S. I'm sorry, I have to. Okay, Will Smith has he's been in movies that will make you fall down laughing, really, really funny. He's been in super serious movies, and he's been in movies that make you really, really sad. 7 Pounds, The Pursuit of Happiness, and he is so damn good at what he does. It is a craft, and I Am Legend, I, Robot, Men in Black, Gemini Man. He's been in such a wide range of movies, and I think that he's kind of killed all of them. There's really nothing that he can't do in my personal opinion. And last up here, rounding out the class, is William Dafoe. I think William Dafoe is probably a B. Don't really have too much to say about him. What I don't really care for is that Matt Damon's not in this list. I mean, they have Ben Affleck, but where the hell is Matt Damon? Let's go ahead and make this guy Matt Damon. Matt Damon's going to be an S tier. He's been really, really good, and I really like it. The guy couldn't look further from him. He kind of looks like a Jerry Seinfeld, but I know it's not him. And anyway, that's going to do it. So for our S tier actors here, we have Steve Carell. Probably a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? But give me a break. He crushed it as Michael Scott, and that's my favorite series of all time. Get Off Me. Next up, we got Al Pacino, obvious, Brad Pitt, Bruce Willis, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, Jennifer Lawrence, Johnny Depp, Morgan Freeman, Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Will Smith, and Matt Damon. So that is going to do it for this tier list. Running us out at the very bottom, you have Andrew Garfield, Marlon Wayans, Sylvester Stallone, Jake Lautner, Taylor Lautner, whatever the hell his name is. That's how bad he is, and Vin Diesel. But as always, if you like today's content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and